Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. I know it's last minute, thanks, but, thanks for coming, and I know we're missing David Greenbaum and Bill O'Neill, but at the last select board really quick meeting when we were posting the warrant, right?
Yes.
Yes, select member, Ed Watson suddenly asked for why we hadn't had
Thank you.
a presentation to the select board about the 96-gallon cart, and I'm racking my brain. I know we have discussed this on the select board. I'm just not, I couldn't pinpoint in my mind, like, did we officially vote this recommendation? I know we had consensus at our meeting. I know, like I said, I went home today, I looked up the survey that we sent out to the town, and they said, is your recycling container large enough? And in answer to that question, over 50% of those responding said no, that their recycling cart was not large enough.
Right.
So then I know at the public information session, we brought that up, right? And we had an exit ticket, and I know we have, 8 or so responses from people that were present that said they would like the larger recycling cart. And I thought after that public information session, I had updated the board as well about these findings. But again, select member Watson seemed to feel that it hadn't been done officially.
I believe.
We actually did vote. We voted
We
for a
voted,
35-gallon trash cart and a 96-gallon recycling cart
Right.
in the November minutes.
Right.
Right.
And that was
Yes,
communicated that to the board, and then they talked about needing more input.
okay, yes, and then
We went with the survey, but we did make that recommendation to the board.
right, but that was tied with the 35 gallons. So
Right,
my
right.
question now is, would we like to separate that vote now, for a couple of reasons?
Yep.
Um,
We should.
okay. Because I had the two things of the public input, plus, I'm probably not phrasing, you'll phrase it better than I am. What you said at, I think, just our last meeting was that maybe, or wouldn't it be good to introduce something positive first as we make this transition to the new kind of trash contract that we're going to have to move towards, that we're still kind of outlining and providing people with an update on the 30-year-old, what did we call those things? They're not really
Recycling bin.
bins. Yeah, let's call those bins, not carts. Those open bins have served their cause.
Right.
Wouldn't it be nice to provide an update to that,
Right.
to everybody in town? And then I thought, I
It
don't
will
know,
help people recycle. It will preserve the recyclables in a better fashion.
yes,
Then they won't be blowing all over the street.
right, so,
That too, and then also,
yes.
it will give people a better tools to be better recyclers.
I like that statement. Let me capture that one first. So. Close that window. I'm frozen. And still frozen. This happens. All right, now. Yeah, I'm online, okay. Just playing with technology today, it seems. Oh, I get why. Never mind. Hey, let me quit that. Get back where I need to be. I was in the wrong place. All right. So providing 96-gallon carts for your residents a better tool to improve recycling. Right, okay, and for the covered 96-gallon cart will prevent weather damage to recycling and also prevent recycling from becoming litter, right?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be easier to contain it in a little cart.
Okay. Okay, so it's $115,000, right, on the warrant right now.
Correct.
Correct, okay. So I have down roughly 50% of residents responded to the survey, answered no to the question, is your current recycling cart large enough? That's such a small amount. Well, I was just gonna maybe make a statement at the public information session. The majority of people would like a larger recycling container. Leave it at majority, because to just say 7 or 8 is like not much. But do you
Well,
think
the
that's
responses requested the larger container, yeah.
okay, what about discussion at the meeting? Do we recall?
I'd have to watch it again. Wait, what did I note? Mike's demo of the 20-gallon.
Oh, that was fun.
Um,
That was a moment.
Nothing specific about the size of that container.
Other recycling, okay. I don't want to make a mistake. The one thing I do not want to do is put a statement down that somebody can then shred and say, well, look, that's not true. Nobody said that.
Right.
So I'd rather not say it than say something that's wrong. We can take a vote tonight to after we discuss a little more, to separate this one recommendation. But the question would be, why this year and not next year when we do the whole thing? And I
For the
thought,
reason stated. Right?
that the reason stated that that's been the way it's been for the past 20 years, all these same reasons, right? People's recycling blowing all over, people's recycling getting
Yeah.
damaged. Why now? Why not wait till next year? Why not bundle it all together? Why not wait till you make sure that everybody really wants all of this? I'm just coming up with all the arguments that have been thrown at us already.
Yeah.
But I do think we have a platform to stand on because we know that a covered recycling container is needed. That's definitive. We know that. We know the town has not provided an updated recycling container in, I would say, 30 years, right?
Mhm.
About 25, 30 years, 25
I
years?
wish I knew the exact date, but I don't. But it's been a long time.
Yes,
And then basically every household gets one.
yes.
I still have mine from Newburyport,
So,
actually. That was 25 years ago.
So this is gonna make it much easier for people. You know, you've got cardboard and stuff, it's gonna fit, fitting it into that
So,
little bin is difficult.
right, so I thought of 2 other reasons as far as the timing, like why now? Why not next year? Why not last year? Why now? One reason might be that it would give us the opportunity as we get ready for the next contract to see if there's any significant change in the trash tonnage when people have a larger recycling container.
Okay.
We don't know what we don't know. And Rebecca's tracking tonnage,
Right.
really tracking just about everything to do with trash. You are.
I mean, again,
But I mean, we won't have that, if we miss that opportunity, you're gonna be throwing out both changes at the same time. This way you isolate one change and you can see.
right, and also you can see how people may realize, wow, I don't have as much trash as I used to have. because I'm able to recycle it
Mm-hmm.
easier and better. And
Yep,
it might help people, just to see that maybe this isn't so as difficult as they thought.
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna say we'll give the committee and the town administrator time to. What do we wanna say? Track the trash tonnage
To see a difference.
and see if the larger recycling container cart creates a change. I mean,
In the,
go quite well, the results in some trash reduction. See if the larger recycling cart helps to reduce trash tonnage. We'll say that.
But then in addition to that, like you had mentioned, we're going to be moving to automated regardless. So we're going to need to provide individuals with a tote that can withstand the arm of the truck and is
Yes.
industrial sized and is provided to them to make it easier for them to participate in the program.
Yes.
And then also, it's important to note that as part of your survey, regardless of a few comments, the majority of individuals were in favor of larger recycling.
Right.
The biggest difference in the survey process was associated with the trash size and the trash tote size, as well as the pay-as-you-throw and some of the other questions brought forward. But
Right,
overwhelmingly, all of the participants, pretty much all of the participants said that they either have a 96 or would prefer a larger recycling tote.
okay,
So it does coincide with the data that you have collected, and it is moving in the direction that the town is moving in, regardless of what size tote we choose for the trash.
right.
right,
And then another point, and I just thought of it as you spoke, is that it will make it safer for our hauler right now, because currently with the open bins, he has to get out of the truck. Even on the busiest roads downtown, and he's picking up multiple thick piles of
right.
recycling.
And it doesn't make sense to now give everybody another bin.
No,
Like when people say they need more space for their recyclables, so we wouldn't just go buy a bunch of bins and hand them out because they're proven to be inadequate for the present and the future. So we have to move forward with something that makes sense for the
Mm-hmm.
waste industry and also with people's needs.
And it's not changing our current contract. There is no change in the services that will be provided, even if we were to move forward with the recycling tote.
yeah,
Okay, so Waste Management would let us use the 96-gallon recycling kits.
There is nothing they can do to prohibit us from moving
Yeah, our
in
con-
that direction.
right,
But
our-
if they can use the arm, they will.
they
And
should,
if
yeah,
they can't, they won't. But it's not gonna change our hauling cost in terms of what we've already negotiated. It's not gonna change our fuel costs. We're still paying for the overhead for the gentleman to get off the truck as
Yep.
needed. So all of the fixed costs that we already have, which was a comment that everyone said, don't do anything now. Even if we don't do anything, you're still getting the tote for the recycling, which adds to all of the environmental benefits that you all just discussed. So it's one of the things to ensure that we're highlighting and that we are listening. And folks have said, do nothing right now. And we're not changing anything.
So will they be able to use the arm for the recycling totes now currently?
They do have an arm on the vehicle. It is a truck that is a dual stream, so they do have one side for trash and
Right,
one
no.
side for recycling. Obviously, there's capacity issues within the truck, so obviously if you're gonna fill up the recycling quicker, then they're gonna need to go unload that to come back and
Right.
make room for.
It's not gonna be a guy trying to lift this into the truck then.
Correct.
Okay.
But there's also the discussion that we've had as the committee has had about making sure that instead of the 96-gallon, also offering a 64-gallon for
Mhm.
those individuals who do not want, or
Right.
excuse me, are not able to maneuver the 96 and being very clear what those thresholds are as to who would qualify for a smaller recycling tote.
right,
And the company is willing to that you've been talking with to make this order, to have a certain number of smaller ones, and that's not a problem?
Correct, and one of the better aspects of the hauler that or the vendor that we've been talking to about the totes is that when the town makes a decision, which does not and is not being considered at this point in time for the trash totes, the rollout will be far easier because we will have identified all of the locations and how many totes are needed. As we've seen now, we have Waste Management implementing the policy that was put forward in 2021, which limits the barrel to either 232s or 164 for trash. And we've had a lot of calls come through because now they're getting tagged because they have an extra barrel. And in some cases, it's because there's additional trash, but in other cases, it's because they have an accessory dwelling unit or they have an in-law apartment. So those are permitted units, and therefore those units should be entitled to what the other unit is entitled to. So not knowing that right off the bat makes our numbers a little skewed.
Mhm.
So we do have some type of, not contingency in this regard, but we have some additional that we've baked into that number, but getting a much better understanding of what we have will make us far more efficient when we move forward with the trash totes. And depending on what the committee decides, whether you do a 35 with an added ability, you can then get more numbers and figures that you can share with the town as you make that decision, because now you know how many households you have and how many household bins you need and how many accessory
Right.
apartments you have, and how that all plays in addition to, if the town passes the bylaw that's before annual town meeting, that will then also eliminate the trash pickup that's been happening for commercial uses that don't require a dumpster, in addition to any household over or any residential parcel with over 4 units, and any nonprofits, which is also something that we've identified as a huge problem in terms of our trash tonnage.
Oh, that's interesting, really?
Because the nonprofits are putting out additional trash because their use of the property requires additional trash. And now that it's being enforced, the regulation that put forward in 2021, we found a lot of nonprofits complaining because they can't operate the way that they have, and they have all this additional trash. But in many other communities, if you're a nonprofit, commercial, and or have more than 4 units, that is a requirement that you have a private hauler take care of your trash and recycling. So if that bylaw goes through, that will eliminate some of the problem areas that we have as well. While also, again, identifying the number of carts we need and identifying the addresses and identifying how we roll out the program and what works best for the residents.
Okay.
So I think that'll be one of the questions that will be asked is how are you going to identify, how are you going to count, and how are you going to roll it out?
And that's what we're gonna be working on with the vendor once we move forward, is taking the parcel count that we have from the assessor, taking a closer look at what we have listed as multifamily,
Right.
what we have listed as a duplex, what we have listed as ADUs, and going through that list and working with them to refine that list and rolling that out as they've done in other communities, and recognizing that they'll help communicate with residents if there's a missed address or if there's an.
Because I'm sure that'll be
necessary
a question, like how will that actually play out? I guess my other question too is is there any kind of warranty on these recycle carts?
There is a warranty.
So
I don't know
what do
the
they-
length. I
what
can
do
look it
they
up right
think,
now.
Like the lifespan typically is.
I think they said to about 10 to 20 years or 10 to 15.
It was over 10 because I know West Newbury, they have a 10-year loan on theirs.
Yes, usually that's what they say. By the end, if you were to lease the totes, by the end of it, they're still protected and under warranty.
But we're buying, right?
We are buying, which would still the warranty would still apply.
No, I know, but that will probably be another question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we want, do you want me to share this? Do you want to split that screen and put this up?
I can
We
do
have 8 things right now. And it'll be, just rather than trying to drop it to your phone. That didn't work real well, did it? It's hard to look on a phone. Let me just,
Well,
well, no, we could
all
probably.
I have is the one,
I have now not, I've been typing as you guys have been talking. I just want to make sure I don't miss, what did I do last? I downloaded it last night, but just a second. Oh, there's I had the wrong thing. There it is.
And
Okay.
these will be barcoded, correct?
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Oh, per household, I mean, to the household, right?
Correct, to the address.
And so when we're talking about people can get a 64-gallon, will people be able to get also a 35-gallon instead? Like, for example, I can't handle the 96 and the 64 is still really big. Can I instead get a 35 for recycling too?
So that will have to be up to the committee and the select board to decide how
Okay.
that's run.
I think when we start looking at pricing and things, that's gonna kind of dictate that, don't you think? That like after a point, unless somebody has a significant disability, we're gonna be getting what, probably bulk pricing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is the implementation and how that's all handled and making sure that the lines are very clear as to who qualifies and who does not.
Right.
Yes.
And so making sure that we have that standard set will help that implementation, and then it will identify how many carts are needed. And we can start that process early on so that we can make sure that we have the appropriate carts in stock before we start the rollout period, which is something that we've
It
done.
just seems hard to have three different sizes, because I mean, then you're ending up with a household that has a 35-gallon and they sell their house to a family of 4 and.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I
that's a good
think,
question,
it's not gonna be so much, your preference as that. You have to have a significant reason why this
The
is the
96
hardship.
is too large.
Yeah, because it's lightweight, what you're putting in there. You're not putting your bricks in there. You're putting
Right.
paper.
I think we
cardboard.
kind of have to stick with
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
sizes.
I agree. I'm just wondering, I can think of 2 people who said that they're all too big.
Well, people, I think, I mean, if we probably had the time to go back to every town that's ever gone through any of this,
Mhm.
because we're behind most towns.
Mhm.
Most towns are now in their next cycle of this, and we're just getting to our first cycle.
I'm glad we're here.
So they've kind of weathered the storm now, and I feel like we haven't done that yet.
Okay.
I think change is always difficult. And this kind of a change with trash and all, it's going to have people that are going to be not pleased that we have to change. And we saw that in the survey. They said, well, just don't change anything.
It's
Yeah.
10 years,
10 years.
10-year warranty.
we have people that wrote that they just, please, I
They
just
should
want my
last
own
longer than
cards. I
that.
like my
Correct.
cards. I
That's what
don't
you're
want
saying.
anything else.
A guaranteed
know,
10
and-
years, but
Okay.
with the life expectancy
So,
of about
It's just, I
20.
wonder with the lid, flopping over, and if that's where the biggest problem comes. When you're actually the arm goes and dumps it out, if the lid can get damaged easily or not.
Right,
The biggest pushback that we've
I
heard in
understand.
terms of the back and forth with the carts too, is that the arm adjustment. So as you can see from the totes that we have in front of us, they're very different. So one of the things that they've said that can be a deterrent to the contractor for the hauler is that the arm has to be fitted for the size of the barrel. So if you're going with a 96 and a 35, then there's gonna need to be adjustments that are gonna have to be made to the arm in order to make sure that they can lift the 96 and then also lift the 35.
okay.
So again, that was just one piece of feedback that we did hear from the hauler. That does not mean that it's all haulers, but something they said that we should take into consideration when looking at carts. So we should, whatever we decide, we should stick with a standard because of the fact that adjustments will need to be made to the way that they pick up and use the arm.
Right,
Oh, so they might have to send out a recycling truck to pick everything up and then send out the trash truck to pick everything up.
Exactly, but we had talked that this is gonna not necessarily, this is not impacting the trash contract as a whole, and we can consider that while we go through the scope for the next.
Okay.
service.
right, and we
But
also,
we know we're not getting a 96 trash.
Correct.
right,
So we have to feel really assured that if we get a 96, whether we go to 64 or 35, that those will work together for the company. I mean, I want to feel assured of that. Because there's no way we're getting a 96-gallon trash container for everybody.
Mhm.
No, and I think they said it's just more like, they typically see like a 64 and a 35 or a 64 and a 96, because the arm will adjust accordingly, but if
Yeah.
you look at the difference between a 96 and a
Right.
35, it's much different, so the arm has to be adjusted to fit, but that, again, I should have waited, but that was only one level of feedback from one hauler. It was not something that was widely discussed nor
yeah, I mean,
confirmed.
I would think it's not something that you have to get out with a widget and do. It should be, you know what I mean? It should automatically come in.
Or they just send a different truck, I mean.
No, but I mean, it's
ma-
not rocket science. I mean, it's just a, it's
Yeah.
a, it's a robotic, I mean.
Agree.
come on. They've got to be able to adjust it as it picks things up. mean, right now they're picking-
Hope,
Right now, they pick up different kinds of cans because people have similar sizes, but they're different shapes. They
Mhm.
do it right now.
Mhm.
You know, it's not like you set it to this and this is all it can do. You know, it's gonna be like this. It's got,
no, I'm just responding to what Rebecca
Yeah.
said, you know, that,
well, yeah, I mean, I think the haulers, they're gonna
I mean,
tell
if,
us.
if the industry really, if, as we said before, the industry's going to this, going to automated pickup.
Yes,
So the automation has to be adequate. In order to go to
Right.
automated pickup, it
They-
has to be
they-
adequate to pick things up.
the
You know?
industry is already at automated.
Right.
pickup. We're behind it,
No,
yeah.
What I'm saying is, it has to, the automated pickup has to be,
It has to be able to adjust.
right,
It has to. I mean, the survey of all the other towns showing the different size carts that they have. They didn't all have the same size carts, you know, for recycling.
I mean, a lot of places do 64 and 64.
Some do, yeah,
West
yeah,
Newbury did.
yes, yes, well, West Newbury, yeah.
So I mean,
Oxford
that's
did
probably the
too.
easiest combo.
Well, I mean, Topsfield went
Yeah.
with two different sizes, so.
It looks nice to have them matching.
Well, we would also wanna make sure they're the
Don't you
different
kind of think
colors.
that's part of it? too?
Yes.
So one color would be recycling and one color would be
Yes.
for trash.
Definitely.
Right.
Yes.
So that's it right now.
Okay.
What have, I've been trying to grab things without being redundant.
I think that's 96, not 86.
Where?
Number 2.
Oh, yeah. What's it say now? Oh, 86, nice. Numbers. Okay. Did it change? Oh, no, it can't. I'm
It's
changing
only in a
it.
PDF
No,
that you sent.
duh. This is how bad this week is for me. Don't even look at me. Oh, my God. So bad.
I
Okay.
don't know if I can do this, but
It's changed. It's okay. But, yeah. And then so it has
Sorry,
those
let's see.
reasons. Yeah. Oh, there's an extra letter there. I see it. Gotcha. Boom, gone. On number 6, I got rid of the extra, whatever that is. I mean, again, if this is gonna become like a huge debate in the select board, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, I thought the select board was on board with this. I thought they were. I'd like to make sure. But they are. I thought the only thing that was really kind of hanging out there is the trash cart size and the reasoning behind it. as to What are we trying to do?
Well, I know it will be brought up how we're paying for it too. That will be brought up as well.
Well, yeah, it's coming from stabilization.
Right, but maybe we should add that.
Why does that have any, that, to me, that's like a neutral, because we're gonna pay for it one way or the other, this year, next year, the year after, it doesn't matter.
Well, this isn't really results from the town survey.
Oh, yeah, you're right, I'm sorry, why am I reading right? It's the
Because that was
summary,
just number 1.
I titled the title of the file is summary, I know, right?
It's fine.
Summary of reasons to purchase 96-gallon recycling cart. About because we feel like it. We feel like spending some money.
No, but I know that will be another question that will probably be asked.
But
The payment.
the money is 115,000, we have it. I mean, it's not,
I mean, that should be clearly spelled out, that the money would be appropriated at town meeting, right?
right, so it won't raise taxes, do you want me to say that?
Well, no, I mean, just to say that we do have, if somebody says, why are we doing it now instead of waiting till next year? Well, one of the reasons is for all these, but also we do have the funds available to do it now,
Right,
right?
but we'd have the money next year too. We have a good stabilization account.
well, the allocation is from free cash, not from stabilization.
Oh, okay. So,
I'm just saying, that I'm sure somebody's gonna ask.
a town certified. A somewhat higher free cash, which
My dog's
allows
at the dog park. I can
the
see him.
carts
He's the black and white one, see
to
him?
be
In the middle.
purchased. Which helps allow, should I say which allows? No. The town certified a somewhat higher free cash this year. And so funds are available to make this purchase. I'm not gonna belabor it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna I don't wanna say too much because then there's.
right, because then people focus on it.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll have this discussion, this back and forth and get a clarification within the select board and that it goes to town meeting, it's gonna go right through with the rest of the capital, that nobody's going to bring it up and argue about that because we have such other big issues.
Right.
You know, so I wanted to make sure that I tried to cover everything that Ed might be concerned about, you know.
Well, or
I wasn't
anybody,
quite-
anybody might bring any of those things up.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
okay,
just
anybody that's,
clarification.
yeah, so any of the people that have come before us and asked us questions and, you know, they seem to think that there was a bit of a rush to shove everything in place and that it was all decided already and we clarified, no. You know, we're advisory, we're researching, we're
Right.
advising. But now if we do want to make this a vote, when we finish the list here, we should formally vote this list. Saying, yes, this is our justification and this is why we want it done this year.
Are we missing anything?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Or do we need to rephrase anything? I just want to make sure it's not vague or doesn't suggest something that's not so.
Just, my big point is that it does not. It is a service that we are currently providing residents. We allow residents to come to town hall for free, since they were purchased, but for free to collect a recycling bin. We are moving away from the bins due to the environmental factors and trying to provide a tote that's of greater size to allow for enhanced recycling and also adheres to better upkeep of the recycling and the elements. It's
Yeah.
not changing your trash size, it's not changing your trash pickup, it's not changing anything other than giving you a mechanism
improvement,
to
yeah.
recycle and not have to chase your bin down or chase your recycling down and to keep everything neat and tidy.
Yep.
Well, it's an enhancement, really. It's enhancement to what you already have. And the thing is too, even with the larger one, I mean, you don't have to put, if you didn't fill it up, you don't have to put it out every week, you know?
That is a true story.
So it's kind of like, I mean, you
Just
really,
put it out
with
when
a
you want.
small bin, you have to put it out every week. But with that, maybe you don't have to.
And we've also received an increase of individuals who are getting tagged on their recycling because they're not breaking down their boxes and they're not putting enough, making sure that their recycling is not is disposed of properly. So providing them a better mechanism for storing and
Mhm.
throwing that
Yep.
away would make it easier because then the driver is not taking the additional stuff that's put out on the side and having to
Right,
tag
right.
it. Cause sometimes the box doesn't fold and they're not cutting the box enough, but you could probably fit the box in a 96. I mean, you should probably break it down. That's the way you should do it, but you won't have that issue where they're turning away the picking up
Pieces
your
of cardboard
recycling
as
because
much.
of
The
it.
plastic milk jugs are always blowing out.
Oh, I know,
You know,
yeah.
anything light like that. I mean,
Um,
to me, it's just a win-win.
I think so as well. I just wanted to make sure.
You wake up in the morning, you got a brand new recycling cart.
So did you want to make a comment that there's
What else
currently
did-
no change to the trash contract
I
or
put-
no?
I put
think
that in
that's-
there. It's.
It's
item
on number 6.
Okay,
This does not change the current contract.
okay.
So nothing's changing, except you have a better
These are really good.
vehicle for your recycling.
Yes, can you forward it to me again?
Okay, yeah.
Let me turn my phone on.
I just, number 8, I would fix that a little bit.
What do you, okay, yeah, it's a little wordy. What do
Yeah.
you, Rebecca do it? Can you do it? Or you want me to do it?
Well, I just wrote,
She's got a little box thing.
About households in town that.
I
will want
wrote,
to
give us an
participate.
opportunity to see any difference in tonnage. It doesn't have to be super.
No,
Oh,
this
and
is
that
number
part.
8 I'm talking
That
about.
more accurate household numbers.
I thought that was an important thing and I don't think I worded it that well, but I
I'm just saying, that could be tightened up.
tightened up and made more succinct, like,
Yeah.
like from the way Rebecca, you were saying it, because it is important that this will save us time and also give us an advantage in the negotiation, because we'll know we'll know exactly what we're trying to negotiate for.
Right. I just think that part about
Yeah.
that we'll want to participate.
More accurate
Yeah, you could take
household,
that out.
It's confusing.
more accurate household numbers will make the rollout easier when the time comes for trash. Barrels.
Yeah, so providing recycling carts and vans. I'll ensure the town gets an accurate count of the number of households in town. This will be an advantage, oh yeah, to the town when it begins to negotiate the next contract. Yeah, it's an advantage, because now we know what we're trying to.
Yeah, I don't think you needed that verbiage.
No, I didn't need it all. That's perfect. Thank you. Okay, it's looking better every minute.
Do you want me to, I don't need to put this in the minutes,
No, you can just attach them. Another time. What is ticking so loud?
the actual clock.
The
I feel
clock.
like we're in the Peter Pan episode and that crocodile's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Run.
This would be a happy day to get one of those. I have to mend my recycling cart every week. The wheel comes off.
It's,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
it's just such a sloppy mess out there when you drive by.
I have one. I got a Home Depot.
I'm just trying to visualize, like now as I drive by on trash day down the street, you see, there's the bag, there's a paper bag full of some cardboard, there's the plastic bin.
Right.
full of-
That's
Piles of
another
trash
question
bags.
somebody might ask about what are people expected to do with their current bins?
I mean, we can collect them if we want to, I suppose, they're
What
recyclable.
the company has said about that.
So we are able to move forward with having the company take their current bin, their current recycling totes. There is a fee associated with such,
Okay.
so we would need to take that into consideration.
Oh, you mean as they deliver, they would pick up?
Correct, and then they end up taking them and recycling them.
Okay.
That's interesting.
But why couldn't we just,
Are people required to give back their bins?
Again, I'm not certain, but my understanding would be no. If you
That's-
wanted to keep your bin and have it in your house
But you
and
could
have,
use it anymore.
but you
for
couldn't use,
recycling.
it wouldn't be collected.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a standard issued town tote in order for them to take it.
Right, so that's just something somebody might ask Kathy.
right, but my question is like, if I hate to have to pay somebody to take away something that's gonna then be recycled by them. Why can't, like we do Christmas tree pickup, right?
The highway department,
Yeah.
yes, they
Right.
do highway tree
Would there
pickup.
be any value to the town of us picking up those?
There would still be a cost associated with it,
You still
because
gotta
we'd
get rid
still
of
have to get them recycled. We'd still have to dispose of them somehow, otherwise we're
Right.
taking all these extra bins and doing what with them?
Well, no, I know, we'd have to either bring them to a recycling center or give them to Waste Management, so what do you think?
But you would have to pay them to dispose of it or take it.
They
It's
wouldn't,
just like
we
with our
wouldn't get
trees.
it, we wouldn't get any money for the recycled.
No,
cost?
just like our trees, I mean, we technically, being the highway department, collects them,
Yeah.
but then ultimately, we do have to pay to get to part of the grinding and composting.
Oh, I didn't
aspect. Like,
realize
it's
that.
not just you just throw them in a pile, like, we actually have to dispose of them, and it's about, when I say it's about, and it's an entire compost pile, not just the trees, but it's about like $8,000 to have somebody come in and turn it. and do all
Oh.
that.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Huh,
I think a lot of people will probably opt to keep one of the bins, because you could put your plant pots in it or whatever.
it can be
Got it.
handy, yeah. But, so the question is, how much of a fee do you think there'd be? I mean, if we're doing business with them, do you think they're going to charge us a lot?
It has to do with the volume, the totes that they collect. It's not just a set cost for them to just take them, it doesn't really necessarily cost them much to take it. It's what it costs them to dispose and recycle of it. So that's why it's based on volume and not necessarily them performing the service.
Okay, so the charge isn't based a lot on their manpower hours, getting out and picking them up. It's more the cost of when they have to dispose them.
Exactly.
So that would exist no matter how we got them, you know? okay,
Exactly.
Okay. Rats, I hate them.
And that's something we can consider as part of the rollout with this one, and if it doesn't work with this one, if we roll out for the trash totes, whatever size they may be, we could factor that into that cost.
Yeah, yeah,
So it is not like we don't have an opportunity to take a closer look at that.
okay. Oh, and you want that?
Do we have any, can we use any of our points money for this?
We could potentially, I can take a closer look at that.
Because that might help
Yeah,
offset it a
That's a
little.
really good point.
I was gonna say that at the next meeting, oh, I'll wait until you get to your.
Next meeting. Okay, here, I'm sending this to your phone. You want it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, wait, I got you. It's here. Should be it. No. You know what, that is blank, wait. No, no, this one's not edited with the word out of it, sorry, let me do that again. That's an old, why is this so messed up? Let me throw these out. And keep using the same ones.
When we roll out these new recycling carts, we should really get Brian to help us or somebody from Recycle Smart MA or somebody to help us with like an education boost on what to recycle, how to recycle, what you can't recycle, stop putting shredded paper in the recycling. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, like a public info session?
yeah.
Yeah, no. you're right.
Or at least like some sort of handout or something, yeah.
So you are able to put something on the barrels if you want, like on the top of the barrels, and it does give you like a little bit of an overview of what you can recycle and what you can't recycle, and then it does give you like a QR code or a website that you can visit as well.
I love
So
it.
that's an additional
Yes.
feature that you can do, so you can put it on the lid. I forget if it's on the outside or the inside, but there is like a laminated like
Okay.
into the like actual bin, so it doesn't get ruined, that you can have,
Oh, that's
um,
good.
that can be helpful.
There's a slide thing you can slide something into that they would keep it there? or-
It's not like it's something,
I
something
agree.
to that, not a stamp, but it's something like that on the lid that actually tells you what you can recycle and what you can't. Like,
That is nice.
not a comprehensive list by any means, because it's a small space, but
Right.
it gives you a kind of the general, and then again, a QR code.
It's like it depends on what community you're in as far as
Yeah.
what certain things are recycled and with the juice containers and all that stuff.
But you could do some of the main stuff, and then things that might change based upon the next contract, that could be included when you do the QR code, because that can take you to the Recycle Smart, and if you put in
Perfect,
Recycle
thank
Smart
you.
and you put your address in, it'll tell you.
Thank you.
I would just think where the state is so, has set such aggressive deadlines, or to try and, you know, get things moving and all, and get to reduce trash as much as possible, that they would standardize.
The recycling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure that that we're recycling absolutely everything possible.
I
that
just
they-
don't know if that's an extra piece of equipment that you need in order to be able to recycle certain things like the half-gallon juice and
It just,
milk containers.
I mean, my understanding is there's only a couple of large facilities that handle this recycling anyway.
Yeah.
There's no, it's not like there's like 20 of them, right?
Yeah,
But everybody probably would learn something because things are still confusing, because some people say you can't do a pizza box, you can do a pizza box if you cut this, you know, so I think that's a really good idea to, prior to the rollout of this, have another info session and have somebody from the state or Waste Management or whoever, or a panel, answer people's questions, you know, because like you're supposed to put the lid back on the glass container before you recycle it. Otherwise the lid, because they want the metal.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that and just throw it in there. So
So
I
I
think
know
we'll all learn more. I know that.
you have the social media posts from Waste Management, right?
Correct. So do
Okay,
you want to dive into?
should we dive into that now? It seems like we're on it because Rebecca made a good point that we don't want to hand out too many flyers within a short period of time. Like if we're gonna go to a new contract where we might
Oh,
possibly
yeah, well, I'm not saying we need to
changing
go
all of
higher tonight.
with the.
I'm just seconding what Stephanie said.
That will need an education.
We'll need to put out more education for people so we all recycle better.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because that's the goal.
Right.
All right.
Not to-
That's
not
one of
to
our 8
contaminate the
stated
recycling.
goals.
Yeah.
Do you want to share that? Because that, they have a nice little social media post they're doing that, it does list the recycling, right? It was on there.
So what ended up happening is that, like we had mentioned, we have started to put a little bit more pressure on Waste Management to ensure that they've been adhering to the policy that was passed by the Board of Select, or the Select Board in 2021, which we have found out has been sporadically enforced based upon the driver and the location and some general misunderstandings of the driver. So that being said, we started to go out and audit to some extent. That's why, again, we encourage any of the committee members to send us photos if you
Oh,
see
for
any
sure.
violations.
Okay.
But what we have been doing is that when we spot a violation, we've been taking a photo of it, sending the address and sending it over to Waste Management and saying, you know, we have a limit, you know, are you tagging these addresses? And that resulted in having a meeting with Waste Management. And they had said that, you know, they acknowledged that there might have been some miscommunication based upon what was presented by the town and Waste Management, and that we agreed that we would enforce what was approved and that they would take a larger effort to relay that information to the driver and the individuals who are contacting them. So they will be having a flyer in the truck now because a lot of the issues also stems from the driver not being familiar with the policies and procedures. They're just hired to be the driver. So making sure that they had the handout present. So if somebody says, why aren't you taking my trash? They'd be able to provide them with this flyer that gives them the details and then gives us our contact information if they have any additional information that they would like. Additionally, they had mentioned that they would be willing to help us with a social media campaign to again re-advertise the fact that we do have a limitation that was passed in 2021, and here's some information about that. The conversation that Kathy just mentioned was more so, we talked about a mailer, but if we're gonna be changing our contract and we don't know what size of the tote is and what's gonna happen there in terms of the trash side of things, we don't wanna overload and then say one thing this year and then next year send out a flyer and say something completely different. So this focus is just going to be generally what we have currently in practice and just solidifies everything. So this is what they had put together and sent over to us for our approval to, again, have a flyer in the cart, in the truck for the driver, as well as a flyer that they can put on their social media as well as our social media so that we can make sure that people have all the information.
That's a nice line. Thank you for helping us keep our community clean.
Yeah.
Oh, but I thought we had currently unlimited recycling. And right there it says limit your recyclables to 2.
Exactly. I pulled that out as well. So we can change that. So I have
We
two.
don't have, still have bins. We don't have carts.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I have a cart, but yeah.
So if there's anything else on these flyers that you would like changed, I can communicate that with Mr. Boyer over at Waste Management and they can make those updates. But like you just correctly called out, I highlighted that section, but I didn't see anything else that I didn't think was in line with what was approved back in 2021 and what we're trying to promote now.
Yeah, I like it.
Did he list the recycle? I thought he had a list of them, no? He doesn't list the recyclables.
Can we put the,
We could add more on that number 2 bullet though, if we wanted to,
Oh, okay, we could add the,
since we don't have a limit in terms
Yeah.
of your recyclables.
so you could list.
I don't understand number 3.
Break down cardboard.
Oh, any extra cardboard. Okay, so if it doesn't fit,
Oh, yeah, rather than
it
just,
doesn't fit, then you can put it beside it, but before it, it says limit your recyclables to the cards.
no.
Exactly, so
then-
that one is just because they're taking what they did up here and not looking and taking what we have up here.
Yeah.
So,
Can we put the QR code on this one? Or
um,
Recycle MA
we could, I would put the link because if
or
I
Recycle
find.
Smart MA, whatever.
Well, just because I know that when you're on social media, you don't have your phone to take a picture of the QR code because you're on
Yeah.
your phone.
Yeah,
So it's easier.
but for the flyer that they're handing out,
We could make that request.
okay.
I'm still, because I can't see the beginning of the
Oh,
top
I'm
one.
sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Just a reminder.
I like the logo combo,
Yeah.
Waste Management and ours.
7:02 PM.
So I'm sorry, I'm so slow.
Yes,
So
you know.
how are you saying we should do number 2 on the bottom then?
So on number 2, we can revise this. My notes say that where it says limit your recyclables to 2 32 gallons or 164. Mine says recycling is currently unlimited.
Okay. But then you're gonna have to change number 3 too.
Well, no, you can break it. So that's the thing, like even if it's unlimited, what ends up happening is that if you don't break down your boxes, they won't take them. But if you break down your boxes and
Right,
they're
but-
flat,
But
You have to put them
Break
somewhere.
down any extra cardboard and place it next to your cart.
Right.
yeah,
that's what they're letting you do.
Right, but people don't have carts now. They have bins.
but some of them have.
I have a card.
Some of them do, but most people are still using the bin.
I think that this is, people can understand this though. People know what this means.
I mean, I can change that to cart/bin, but the requirement is still the same. If you take all of your extra cardboard and break it down so it's flat and you lie it right up against your bin or
They'll take
they'll
it.
take it. But if you have 5 Amazon boxes that you stack inside it and
Right.
they're not gonna take it, they'll tag it. So they're just trying to make sure that people are breaking down their extra
Yeah.
cardboard.
I just think that should be the emphasis there is the breaking down of the cardboard, not exactly where it's placed.
Okay, so we can remove the terminology and just say break
Or-
down any
or
extra
just say
cardboard.
cart/bin.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
that's an easy fix.
Well, why not just say a cardboard must be broken down and flat?
Any extra.
Well, but their
Yeah.
point is if you have extra, don't worry, you can just put it next to your,
Right, I get that.
Yeah, okay.
It's just,
I
I think
ju-
it will confuse people who aren't using 64-gallon carts or
Yeah.
something for this. If it just says cart/bin, I think it will take care of it.
Yep, we'll take care of that. So the number 2, we can change it to additional recyclable items, or we can just say that the currently recycling is unlimited recycling. But that would be the only other change I think that we would want to be.
Yeah, I think, because if we say that, people are gonna say, but I thought it was unlimited, and then,
I know.
you know.
What do you want? Do you want to say that it's unlimited or do you want to add a?
well, so that's the thing is the QR code, because we can recycle certain kinds of plastics and things,
I
so.
didn't want to say it's unlimited because then we're gonna be the bad guys when we limit it with. the
Yeah, I don't
96.
want to put unlimited there necessarily,
Yeah,
but
'cause if we give them the 96-gallon cart, we don't want other carts out there with recycling.
I agree, so I
think
just,
That's just, it would just confuse.
no, I
people.
agree, but if you take, like, what other items would you list there as recyclable, like?
Well, I mean, I guess people kind of know, don't they? Or,
No,
Are you
that's the
talking about
problem.
Number 1 now? Are you
Number-
talking about number 1? 'Cause
If
that's the things that we can recycle. Or are we talking about number 2?
We're talking about adding items that we can recycle to replace the number 2, since we don't have a limit on recycling.
Oh, okay.
They initially had a little flyer with pictures or something, I don't know.
Recycle Smart MA.
Yeah,
So we can take a closer look at this and we can discuss.
Yeah.
And if there's additional edits that you want to make, let me know and I can send them off and then we can get it revised and then I can bring it back before the board as well.
yeah.
What's your time frame on it, though?
There's no real frame per se. It's just a matter of convenience so that the driver has something.
Yeah, right.
So the sooner the better, but it doesn't change the fact that, you know, they've been told and they're communicating and we know they're communicating because we're getting
Calls.
an influx of calls. So I think that we're on the better path with them. So it's not urgent, but it's also just easier for the driver. Cause I mean, everybody has been very nice to the driver. I would say that there's only been maybe 1 or 2 incidents where a homeowner has been a little bit more agitated with the driver for not taking the additional trash. But, you know, having something where the driver can just be like, listen, here, you talk to the people who make the decisions. It's a lot easier than having to listen and, you know,
Right.
interact.
Don't
What
get
if-
messenger.
What if for number 1, we just add plastic bottles, jars, jugs and tubs or whatever, empty and replace cap. But, and then in number 2, we can say, the things, no plastic bags, plastic wrap or recycling in plastic bags. Can we do that?
That could be something.
Cause that's on their
that's true.
website. I mean, on Recycle Smart MA.
If you want a screenshot, I'll take the language and I'll add it in and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Then I'll get a final draft over.
And you could add on number 1, flattened cardboard,
Okay,
paper and flattened cardboard.
drive home the point. We can do that.
Just a thought.
No?
Did you email it to Rebecca or how did you?
What? I don't have this thing.
No, but I mean,
Listen.
when you sent,
Just text me, just.
okay, good.
screenshot
That's what
it.
I'm gonna
It's
do.
easier.
Okay.
Well, what are we doing? Because we still need to make a formal vote to separate, to negate the prior vote, which I think we need to do, and then to reset the vote to this,
Mhm.
and then wait till the committee gets to its next juncture to make another vote for recommendation.
Okay, so
Yeah, we're going to have to make a trash cart
motion
recommendation.
to separate the November vote from a 35-gallon trash cart and a 96-gallon recycling cart.
We just motioned to rescind it, I think, the recommendation.
Motion to rescind the vote from November 2024.
I think we should rescind the vote.
I think it
It
needs.
was a valid vote.
No, it's a valid vote, but now the situation has changed.
Right.
And the committee has gone back to the drawing boards on the cart size, and we have not yet come back with a new recommendation on trash cart. So it's confusing to the public. People keep asking me, well, didn't you already decide? And I said, yes, but then the select board asked us to go back and get more information, and the information we got told us flat out, over 60% of those surveyed do not think they can survive with one 35-gallon cart. At the time the survey was done, that was the feedback. We'd be remiss to ignore that in our decision-making and to just keep going straight forward, like, oh, well, we didn't hear anything, we
Well, I
did.
don't think we are ignoring it.
Well, I think.
I think we had a solution, which was a second 35-gallon.
Yes, so
cart.
that changes our recommendation. I think if we don't rescind one, we're going to have problems with the select board and the public.
But I
If we
don't know if
feel-
you would, if I may say, I don't think you would rescind
Right.
because it was a
Mhm.
valid decision and a vote that was made by the
Okay.
board.
No,
I
don't
think you
so.
make it clear that you're going to reevaluate, like you said, and you will be taking another vote. Because that is what initiated the whole process. To then
Okay.
rescind it, then where's
Right.
your starting
Okay.
point?
And then it
All right,
invalidates
so-
what the committee
So the
decided.
motion now should be to make a new recommendation just on recycling. Is that
That would be
Yeah.
fair, rather
Okay,
than
let's-
rescind.
I
The
think
let's go
rescind
that
is a
way.
little messy.
too messy? Okay,
Okay, thank you.
okay, let's go
That's
with that.
Roger's Rules of Order.
I know, right? I should have brought.
Um,
the book.
Motion to,
You make a
um,
motion.
To accept the
Malcolm?
friendly recommendation and put forward a recommendation for a 96-gallon.
Perfect.
Cart.
so
Based-
moved.
Based on
I'll
the,
second.
based on the items.
Wait, let me write this down. Motion to accept friendly how did that go?
Amendment,
Huh? Amendment.
because your motion will stand and then you'd have to accept the
Okay.
recommendation and then you'd
Okay.
have to all vote.
To
We are recommending.
to recommend a 96-gallon recycling cart.
Be purchased as part of the 2025 annual town meeting warrant.
Okay, to be
Well-
purchased as part of 2025 annual town meeting
And
warrant.
I would say based on the list that we're providing to the select board,
Based, and what are you calling that?
the summary list.
Based on summary list provided to select board.
Yep,
Okay, let me read this again. Motion to accept friendly recommendation amendment to. Motion to accept friendly amendment to recommend a 96-gallon recycling cart to be purchased as part of a 2025 annual town meeting warrant based on summary list provided to select board.
Recycling cards, you probably have to put.
Recycling cart.
Carts. Yes. Okay. And
And
Jan,
that would,
Jan is seconding?
Jan a second, okay,
and you just need to make sure that you record the first motion that Kathy made, which is a motion to rescind.
okay, and
And then
then,
you can accept the friendly amendment to that.
Oh,
So your motion is fine where it is. You just.
Well, if we didn't vote on it, can't we just
we
take
never
this?
voted on the rescinding.
nobody seconded my motion.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
John, go. There's
Nobody-
only three of us here. We
We
haven't,
just
okay, so
discussed it,
what does it say now?
It says motion to accept friendly amendment.
so we don't need a friendly.
So we don't
take
need
that
the friendly
thing.
amendment.
Take that out.
Motion to accept recommendation
Two.
for
Yeah.
96 gallon, for
Right.
96 gallon recycling carts to be purchased as part of the 2025 annual town meeting warrant based on summary list provided to select board. Jan seconded.
Okay,
Stephanie motioned.
okay, all in favor? Unanimous, two absent. But I think they would support it.
Yeah.
I think too.
Mhm.
We don't know.
Okay, and the flyer, you're not ready for to do anything yet, right?
The one that
Yes, the flyer. is
I sent to
coming-
her?
Yeah, that's coming back for another round. That's gonna go to something else, right? So we have, is it 1 minute or 2 minutes? 2
It's
minutes.
2 minutes.
We have February 10th. And March 13th.
For the next meeting, if we could do earlier, that would be better, because what I wanted to ask and bring forward to the board is to let you know that we did receive the RDP composting grant. So we did put forward our plan. It did get accepted by Mass DP, so we will need to move forward with rolling out that program. So I would like to have the committee involved with that. We do have to roll a portion of that out prior to fiscal year 25's close, which is June. So I would hope that we could get rolling right after a town meeting, because obviously it's been way too busy to do right now. But with the weather starting to change and with additional hands on deck, I think
Yeah.
that we should be good to go.
Yeah,
2025.
To meet earlier than.
The earlier the earlier in May, the May meeting would be preferred.
Oh,
I
not
see what you
like
mean. I thought
4
you meant
o'clock in the
earlier
afternoon.
time.
Okay,
No,
Okay,
I just
okay.
meant earlier, the meeting in May, because I think.
Before end of
it's
2025.
Later.
in June. Okay. Fiscal year
see, we did, you're right. We was in our minutes that we discussed doing this rollout of the 96 gallon
Yeah.
car at the prior meeting. We just didn't take in a formal recommendation vote.
Right.
Okay. And that's kind of what I said to Ed, is like, I thought we had kind of done that, but, okay.
Yeah, see, automated rationale.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Increased safety, increased capacity.
Yeah.
I mean, decreased capacity, increased cost.
We're forgetting stuff we've talked about. Okay,
Well, that's why I have minutes. Maybe I should have a binder with just the minutes in and we can just page through them.
no, we'll get better.
Instead, I just have this notebook and I put everything in like date received. Like, I don't know how people are organized.
Okay, so do you want to get a motion to accept both the minutes?
Has everybody read that?
Yeah.
And by everybody, I mean you too.
Yeah, I know, it's- the whole crowd has read it, yes, do you want to make the motion, Jan? I'll second it if you want.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from February 10th. You want to do them separately?
Sure, I'll second that. All in favor? Unanimous, two absent.
Make a motion to accept the minutes for March 13th, 2025.
And I'll second that. All in favor? Two absent. Okay, the minutes are accepted. So that's pretty much all I needed just to get done tonight, because I just wanted to make sure, I know I rushed this meeting in. I just, like I said.
That's okay. Should we
didn't
make
anticipate Ed
for our next meeting?
Yeah.
then?
putting the stop sign up right on. And I wanted to make sure that we had time for the board, the select board to talk about it one more time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Before town meeting, because I'm hopeful that the town meeting, all the fighting can be focused on the fun stuff, you know. MBTA, usually there's one thing that I'll never think about that will be a controversial and it becomes. But this year I can't, I think we do have the controversial things. Yeah,
We want to go May, right?
yes, so we want to pick a date, let me see,
Anything before May, I will have to recuse myself.
Anyway, what?
Anything before May, I won't have the time.
Oh, yeah,
another time, my God, I know, I feel like we're in this roller
What
coaster.
works well for you?
So we're looking at
May.
May, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so let's do, May seems like we're a world away from now, but I know it's not. How about, do you want to try and hit on, the 8th of May, earlier May, before we get
Yeah.
anywhere near Memorial Day?
that sounds good. May 8th. That'll make Rebecca happy.
Yeah, perfect.
What time?
The same time, it seems to work.
6 o'clock?
Yeah, yeah.
6 o'clock. Trash. Trash talk.
All right.
Okay, put that in.
You guys wanna adjourn?
So we're going to talk about the composting program for sure on that agenda.
Correct.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
7:18. All in favor?
I
It's unanimous, two absent.